No shortage of a lot of activity going on right now. Look at that tornado watch in red. It has blossomed and expanded. We're going to try to get you all the latest here across the whole country. You can see the issue here with the winter side of things, but the severe side of things is going to be really the biggie, and that's this huge tornado watch. There's a flood watch out across portions of Ohio. You have the wind advisories. Yeah, no shortage of stuff going on. That's for sure. Absolutely. This is the system, and it has really been progressing as the day's gone on and has allowed for that warm front to finally lift north, and along that cold front is the severe line of storms. We're not going to see a bunch of development way out ahead of it. It's one major line to watch, but several states being impacted with this. We want to kind of wind down the cold season here. I mean, I know it's April 2nd, but wanted to kind of give you the send-off video, break down the threats today, thank all of our warm season clients for sticking with us, and encourage our winter clients that if you're doing landscaping, construction, if you're managing a city or managing any kind of big infrastructure, it's important to get weather 24/7, 365 if it's going to be turbulent, if it could cause safety, if it cause operational risks that can be preventable. Obviously not a weather app, so there's a lot more insight that you can garner. So here we go. This is the system right now. We're going to get you the latest kind of radar up along that front, not too much into the Chicago area, break up into portions of Michigan after ice, sleet, snow, and a lot of rounds of heavy rain and thunderstorms were around. Same story into northern Ohio. Now those storms have moved off towards the east. And let's see if I can showcase that a little better now across the State College area into portions of upstate New York. It's all going to be approaching further off towards the northeast. So plenty going on, that's for sure. But really the worst of it is just starting to develop at this time. Look at the temperature spread. As it's warmed up over the last 4 hours or so, areas have gone from 30s and 40s into the 50s, and some spots have gone from the 40s and 50s into the 70s, and look at all the spots that are now up into the 80s. So you have temperatures in the middle 30s across mid-Michigan, you have temperatures in the 80s across middle of Ohio. Literally winter and summer. Impressive difference. You don't see fronts like this too many times per year. Major tornado threat. Let me take my webcam off. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat that. When you start seeing the reds and the purples, the pinks on this map, that gets to be some rare stuff. A lot of tornado threats are 2% to 15% tops. It's only the big boys. You start pulling out a 30% or a 45%. So areas of Indiana in towards western Tennessee, and then across portions of Arkansas and northern Louisiana under the gun. That is a big risk. And that is why official high risk for severe weather in effect for that mid-Mississippi Valley area into the Tennessee Valley, and including the southern Ohio Valley as well. That's a big time risk. Enhanced risk is all the way up into portions of the western half of Ohio, into the Michigan border. So that's elevated too. And while these storms are going to wind down as they go into the overnight hours, that risk still remains all the way east into like the Pittsburgh area at this point. Tomorrow's risk is by far predominantly, unfortunately, in some of the same areas like Memphis and Nashville, into Little Rock and Jonesboro, into Lexington. The good news is it's a much weaker risk further off towards the east, so across like West Virginia, across portions of southern PA, the Mid-Atlantic area into New Jersey, New York. It will be a fairly small risk at that point. But let's showcase everything here starting off this evening. This is going to be a mean line of storms, and it progresses off towards the east-northeast. And notice that we have these little pink colors, and those are like embedded supercells within the line. I'm going to do a much better job of showcasing this with a graphic, but essentially you have a lot of wind shear with this event. And when you have this bow effect, it pushes through kind of these little apexes on the front of the line. And as it does that, it creates these little eddies and these little vortices, and it can create multiple spin-up tornadoes But there's so much energy with this type of an event. There's so much change of wind speed and wind direction with height in the atmosphere, how it kind of changes. That means that you create a lot of rotation, and sometimes you can really get a long track, very significant, major, long-lasting tornado in these type of setups. So it's something really to keep in mind as we go through the later evening into the overnight hours, multiple different Boeing segments, but also some of these classic like embedded supercells within the line. And these storms are going to still kick pretty well going into the overnight before they really start to wind down across portions, maybe that 71, 77 corridor. I think the risk into Michigan is going to be a little bit lower. It's tough to get all that energy all the way that far north into the line. But further off towards the south, I mean, notice you're still getting some of those pink colors, a lot of dark red, so that's still a pretty significant risk into the overnight hours. And then as we go in towards portions of the morning, you still have some pretty good storms into like Tennessee and Kentucky, but towards the north is just going to be regular garden variety thunder showers into upstate New York and New England as well. And that threat will not be a big deal with just a few showers around for Thursday, but again, different story further off towards the south where those rounds of rain and storms are going to be persisting. And this is going to be just a super active pattern. More rain, heavy at times, surges back northward, and we're going to get more strong storms potentially later on into the nighttime and then going in towards portions of your Friday. These storms, again, really mean business and just so much rain associated with this. So showcasing it on a more regional type of a map, you see multiple different waves of low pressure moving in. High to the north, compacting things up against that moisture field with the front. And multiple rounds of rain there, moving up into the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, through the Tennessee, Mid-Mississippi Valley areas into the weekend. And that just is meaning we're getting so many rounds of rain over the same areas that there's going to be big-time flooding risks, not just localized, but these are going to fill up streams, rivers, creeks. This is going to be a big deal flooding event, I think, newsworthy for sure over the next few days or so. Lower Ohio Valley, Mississippi Valley, that type of deal. Much colder air moves in the end of the weekend. Could see some snow showers mix in with a system potentially on Sunday. I don't think that's going to be a big deal, but a big trough moves in right after that, and this is going to bring in a clipper and some snow showers across the Great Lakes, and there should be enough cold air here that we could get some lake enhancement and true lake effect to blend and put down maybe a few inches of snow in some of the snow belts going on late Monday into Wednesday morning. So winter's not totally done. This is going to be an interesting continued pattern. But after this, it really does quiet down. So that's good news. Warm air moves in, relatively speaking, for the next couple of days across a decent portion of the east. We moderate back closer to average as we go on in towards the start of the weekend. And then there comes that big system, and that's going to really drop things early next week. And it'll be a slow rise to get back to normal, and then notice we'll start to warm things up across the middle portion of the country again. The west is very warm. And by the end of next weekend, that will come far enough east where you start seeing impacts. But yeah, definitely notable for sure, with very chilly air across much of the east in that 6 to 10 day period, while plenty of warmth across portions of the west. So snowfall wise, and I want you to kind of take this with a grain of salt. Some spots might see some flakes, but no any kind of accumulation. Some spots might see an inch or two here and there. But I think if we can get things lined up with a little bit of lake effect, there will be areas that can certainly see 2 to 4 inches or so of snow. Out across the middle portion of the country there, that's kind of the remnants of the system that just moved through. I don't think Texas is really getting that much in the way of snow. There's not a ton of snow into the high terrain out west. But plenty of excessive rainfall causing all that flooding issues across that Arkansas in towards Tennessee area, into Kentucky, and then a lesser extent into like Indiana and Ohio, but still kind of a big deal there. There's just going to be so much rain. This is not an exaggeration. This is just a crazy amount of rain. Widespread 4, 5, 6 inches here, but some spots will have 7 to 11 inches. No joke across that, again, kind of western Kentucky, western Tennessee, much of Arkansas, eastern Missouri area. That's going to be a really big deal over the next few days. The good news is we do dry out fairly significantly after that for next week. It'll be back to more normal, and it's very dry across the middle portion of the country at least. So at least there's that. Yeah, we could probably use it. People want to get out in the fields. There's landscaping to be done, but kind of a wild roller coaster over the next few days. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you sticking with me. If you enjoy these videos, feel free to let others know about our service, and take care.